All right, y'all. We'll give praise, esteem, and honor to living Elohim in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach. Let's pick this up in John chapter 5 and verse 39. Shalom, Sister Kelly. Search the scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life, and there they which testify of me, and you will not come to me that you might have life. I receive not honor from men, but I know you, that you have not the love of Elohim in you. I will name you receive me not. But another shall come in his own name, him you will receive. How can you believe which receive honor one from another, and not the honor that comes from Elohim only? Do not think that I will accuse you. The Abba, there's one that accused you, even Moses, in whom you trust. Had you believed Moses, you would have believed me, for he wrote of me. But if you believe not his writings, how should you believe my words? All esteem the Abba and Shamahim in the name of Yahushua. Shalom, Sister Hill. Let's get this John chapter 3, verse 1. Ecclesiastes chapter 4. Numbers 23. John 3 and 1. There was a man of the Pharisees named Nicodemus, a ruler of the Yahudim. The same came to Yahushua by night and said unto him, Rabbi, we know that you are a teacher come from Elohim, for no man can do these miracles that you do, except Elohim be with him. Yahushua answered and said unto him, Truly, truly, I say unto you, except a man be born again, he cannot see the mouth fruit for Elohim. Nicodemus said unto him, How can a man be born when he is old? And how can he enter the second time into his mother's womb? Yahushua answered, Truly, truly, I say unto you, except a man be born of water and the Ruach, he cannot enter into the Malkuth for Elohim. That which is born of the flesh is flesh. That which is born of the Ruach is Ruach. Marvel not that I said unto you, you must be born again. The wind blow where it list, and you hear the sound thereof, but you cannot tell whence it come and where it go. So is everyone that is born of the Ruach. Ecclesiastes 4 and 14. Shalom, Jay. Let's hit this Ecclesiastes 4 and 14. For out of the prison he come to reign, whereas also born in his Malkuth have become poor. I considered all the living which walk under the sun with the second child that shall stand up in his stead. For there's an end of all the people, of all that have been before them. They also that come after shall not rejoice in him. Surely this is also vanity and vexation of Ruach. And then Psalm Numbers chapter 23. Numbers chapter 23. Uh, 23 and 7 is fine. And he took up his parable, Shalom, my G, and said, Balak, the Malak of Moab, have brought me from Aram out of the mountains of the east. Come, curse me. Jacob, come, defy Yasharal. How shall I curse whom Elohim have not cursed? Or how shall I defy who have not defied? From the top of the rocks I see him, and from the hill the people shall dwell alone and shall not be reckoned among the nations. Who shall count the dust of Jacob in the number of the fourth of Yasharal? Let me die the death of the righteous. Let my last end be like his. Show him again, Sister Johnson. So, I know we was in some Psalms 37, and we ain't got back to Psalms 37, but guess what? What? Back to Psalms 37. And there's a few other things that we could go back over to discuss, and maybe we will, before we even get to Psalm 47, because it just came into my mind. 37, not 47. Come over here to Job 14 on general principle. Say, man born of woman, a few days, full of trouble. Let's look, Shalom, brother. Let's look at full of trouble. Job 14. So we got full, which is sabiah, which is to be abounding, full of. What is trouble in this regard? Joanne, be quiet. Rogez, Raj, Gamal, Zaim. It's agitation, it's raging, it's turmoil, it's trembling, it's trepidation. I'm trying to think. There's something we just looked at that dealt with trembling and trepidation. But he said, a man born of woman, a few days full of trouble. So let's do this here. Come on here to Galatians chapter 4. Since he's full of trepidation, let's do this. Galatians chapter 4 and 1. Let's deal with the aspect of man being born a woman first. If I can get around that, we might can make something happen. There we go. Galatians 4:1. Now I say, the heir, as long as he is a child, there it is. That's what Canaan praise God. Differ nothing from a servant, though he be Lord of all, but is under tutors and governors until the time appointed of Abba. Even so, when we were children, were we in bondage under the elements of the world. But when the fullness of time was come, Elohim sent forth his son, made of a woman, made under the law, to redeem them that were under the law, that we might receive the adoption of sons. And because you were sons, Elohim sent forth the ruach of his son into your hearts, crying, Abba. So wherefore you were no more a servant, but a son. And if a son, then an heir of Elohim through a mashah. Now, why is that important? We just read the verse about how he would send a second child in his stead. Let me read that Ecclesiastes 4:14 for you one more time. 4:15, excuse me. I considered all the living which walk under the sun, but the second child that shall stand up in his stead. Now, remember it said man is full of trouble, full of turmoil. Well, what passage does that point us to? Well, let's go back and refresh your memory. Praise Yahuwah, because he brought it back to mind. And it's Psalm 51. God bless Brother Langford. It's Psalm 51. Psalms 51 and 1. We can start at Psalms 51 and 1. Sit on down. That's a good baby. Psalm 51 and 1. Have mercy upon me, O Elohim, according to your loving kindness, according to the multitude of your tender mercies. Blot out my transgressions. Now, of course, we talked about a couple weeks ago. You know what I'm saying? That Isaiah 44. You know what I'm saying? He's blot out your transgressions like a thick cloud. But see, this is the most important part. He said, remember, according to your loving kindness. Why is that important? Because if we talk about dying the death of the righteous, you die in the death of the righteous because you want your last end to be like his, and that last end is according to his loving kindness. So just bear with me, because if we're going to walk it down, we're going to walk it. And make it plain so you understand fully why you want your last end to be like his, what it is that you are moving towards to even want your last end to be like his, because this is what the writer, remember, this is a parable. Shalom, bro. Remember, that's why I read that. It's verse 7. I believe it said that Balak was taking up a parable in his mouth. So when he said, let me die the death of the righteous, shalom, dear man, he let you know what it is. This is a dark saying. Y'all know what the book say. The preacher was wise because he did what? He sought out many proverbs to set them in order, to line them up. That's what a preacher does. He's a coalesce. He's an arranger of sentences. You understand? He put the word together so that you could cause to understand the reader. See, of course, you know, when you go back and you read in the book of Ezra, you know what I'm talking about? Where Ezra was sitting down teaching the people, he caused them to understand the reading. See, a lot of individuals don't cause people to understand the reading. So then if you don't understand the reading, then it is grossly just a vain activity all the way around the board. You understand? Because y'all know, what did the book say Ezra was? A ready scribe. I mean, he was skilled in the law of Moses at that point for him. Of course, you know, Yahushua say every scribe which is instructed into the kingdom of heaven, they bring it out of their treasure, out of their vessels, things new and old. You understand? See, a lot of individuals, they ain't been instructed into the dominion of eternity. How can you teach something you ain't been instructed in? And if you ain't been instructed in the testimony of Yahushua, then you don't have the information for the dominion of eternity. You don't possess it. That just is what it is, man. It's not my personal feelings. I really don't care. You know what I'm saying? But you know, I've been telling you for years, boy, a lot of it's trash, man. A lot of these boys is butt. And dudes love it that way. That's the part that love it. And the nerve to say how trash some Christian pastors is, and your Hebrew elder is butt. Super butt. You know what I'm talking about? And no pause, nigga. I mean that. I'm talking about that boy is boo-boo. It's horrible. Detestable. So when we look at loving kindness, And of course, y'all should know the word, but I just want to reiterate it because I want that to be at the forefront of your mind. Of course, it is chesed, and it is goodness, it is kindness. So, of course, we know from Jeremiah chapter 9, and I'm going to read it to you because we just want to come with a different aspect of dying the death of the righteous that we've been dealing with to give you a, shalom, Brother Reynolds, to give you a different perspective, something else to think upon. You know what I'm talking about? Because and I had you know, especially with the question I would add last week, Jeremiah 9:23. I don't want any of you to be moved to serve Yahuwah because you scared you going to hell. You should be moved. The very thing that you see Psalms 51 leading off, be merciful to me according to your loving kindness, because you're seeking to be a part of his loving kindness. That's what you're seeking after, more so than trying to flee from the wrath. You know what I'm talking about? We already know the wrath coming. And that ain't even just the wrath of the end, you understand? It's just the wrath of the fact that you got to die. So you don't understand that death is the wrath of God, because that is the penalty for Adam's disobedience. So that's why you have trouble. That's why you have turmoil, because you are waiting for that day because you don't know when it's coming. You know what I'm saying? You don't know when it's coming. So since you don't know when it's coming, you would much rather want to die the death of the righteous. And after I read this Jeremiah 9, this just popped in my mind. We'll read Luke 12 on general principle. So Jeremiah 9:23. Thus saith Yahuwah, let not the wise esteem in his wisdom, neither let the mighty esteem in his might, let not the rich esteem in his riches, but let him esteem in this, that he understand and know me, that I, Yahuwah, which exercise loving kindness, judgment, and righteousness in the earth, for these I delight, saith Yahuwah. So this is what he exercises, loving kindness, which is also faithfulness. Matter of fact, something else just came to mind, so let's go to that first. Come over here to 2 Timothy. Make sure I'm in the right spot. I don't think that's it. Might be chapter 1. And is that passage even in here? Here's some pages even in here. Here we go. 1 Timothy chapter 4. You could pick it up at verse 1 on general principle. 1 Timothy chapter 4, verse 1. I don't really need all those things, but I'm going to work my way to what I want. Now the Ruach speak expressly, Shalom, Shaul, that in the latter time some shall depart from the faith, giving heed to seducing Ruachs and the teachings of devils, speaking lies and hypocrisy, having their conscience seared with a hot iron, forbidding to marry, to abstain from meats, which Elohim have created to receive with thanksgiving of them which believe and know the truth. Now, y'all can take this for whatever you want to take it for. You can talk to the super vegans and all them, boy, whatever they want to talk about. We didn't talk about it before. But, boy, that man say you telling lies and hypocrisy. Boy, your conscience been seared with a hot iron if you telling people that. That don't come from God. I don't care how you feel about it. I don't care how you think about it. I don't care what extra books you go grab or whatever, you going to change the fact. But one day you're going to have to see that man, and that man going to be like, boy, you lied on me, boy. But guess what? I gave you that mind to lie on me, boy, because I know you ain't fooling with me. He say, for every creature Elohim good, nothing to be refused if it be received with thanksgiving. For it is sanctified by the word of Elohim in prayer. See, that's why they have to grab other books and say, see, nah, that ain't what he meant. Man, what I look like listening to a nigga who been sinning all his life tell me what Yahuwah meant. And the nigga still sinning while he doing it. As a matter of fact, why would I listen to anybody who would put what he put in his mouth over what's in his heart? I'm not listening to you, man. I'm not even taking you seriously. You understand? I done talk to people who feel like you more righteous if you don't eat meat. You's a fool. Nigga, what you put in, why you think to see everybody want to get all caught up on, you know, the Christian aspect of it when he says it's not what going to a man that defile him, but what come out, and they missed the whole point of what he was trying to tell you. The stuff that make you unclean before God sitting right in your heart. It don't matter what you put in your mouth. You eat no doggone chicken or pork chop or fish ain't got nothing to do with the fact that you got lasciviousness in your heart and you got an evil eye in your heart and it's adultery in your heart and it's blasphemy in your heart. And just because you decide to eat rutabagas and spinach and all that other type of stuff is not going to change the fact that it's lust in your heart, it's murder in your heart. That's not changing that. You ain't getting filled with the Ruach because you eat something that is going to die. Plants die too, dummy. You know what I'm saying? This to put that if you know God, you'll hear this and be like, I know he's not a God. This nigga's carnal. That's carnal understanding. That's carnal thinking. Because you think it's something that is temporary. To guess what? Fruits and vegetables, animals, and all that is temporary. Then that ain't got nothing to do with Yahuwah, because Yahuwah ain't temporary, fool. The man is spiritual. He exists forever. There's no dying with him. But see, we don't want to hear that because you want to push what you want to push. If you believe in healthy eating, by all means, promote it. But don't put that on Yahuwah back like that's what he's telling you to teach, because you lying on that man. You lying on that man. Stop lying on that man. And I'm not telling you to stop lying on that man because it's going to do something to diminish his character, because it's not going to do nothing to diminish him. That man going to come see you for lying on him. And I don't think people really understand. I don't think you want them problems of the living Elohim to come see you because you've been lying on him. Yeah. Cheesing, baby. Verse 6. He said, this is 1 Timothy chapter 4, by the way. He said, if you put the brethren in remembrance of these things, you shall be a good servant of Yahushua HaMashiach, nourished up in the words of faith and of good doctrine, whereunto you have attained. But refuse profane and old wives' fables. Exercise yourself unto godliness. So let's take a look at that. We are holding Psalm 51, Psalms 37, and Job 14. So let's take a look at that, right? First things first. What is an old wives' fable in the Greek? So when you look at wives, you know, that's old woman. Old wives, old woman. Silly is the more apt term. The word is grohades. This is a silly story, more so than focusing on gender. Mythos, which is a fiction, a fable, a falsehood. You understand? Now he tell you that bodily exercise profit little, but rather exercise unto godliness. Godliness, of course, is you Sibia, and that is someone who is Kadash, has reverence or fear towards Elohim. This is someone who is sanctified themselves. So sanctify yourself through the exercising or putting into practice of the word of Yahuwah. Exercise, of course, here is gymnasia, and that is also the exercise of the body or any exercise whatsoever. You know what I'm talking about? Put in practice. He say, put into practice being Kadash, being set apart. Verse 8, for bodily exercise profit little. I remember there was a time period brews argue about that. The man wasn't saying you couldn't exercise, saying profit little. Because no matter how much I exercise, 4 to 6 times a week, and I'm still going to die. Man, matter of fact, you could talk to people who believe in veganism, and they act like they're not going to die. Oh, it's all good, my G. You got people who act like you still going to die, boy. Well, you still need a redeemer. You still need a savior. I don't care if you ate dirt every day, boy, you still going to die. Guess what? You know what y'all done seen in your life? Because it's all by Yahuwah's grace. It ain't got nothing to do with you. See, that's the vanity and pride of man, that you think you could dictate how long you going to be here. You wicked, unbelieving, prideful bastard Jew. Because you ain't going to look at, man, I done seen people, literally, who ate pork every day of their life, and they lived to be about 100 years old. And I knew a man, when I was in the 5th grade, our gym teacher, this man was in excellent health. This man fell out dead from a heart attack running. That man wasn't even 50 years old. You know what I'm talking about? I remember when Dr. Sebi died, man, these niggas act like he couldn't die. What's wrong with you? You making idols out of these people. You making idols out of food. You don't even realize it. You don't even realize it, man. Man, when you leaving here, you leaving here. But guess what? Everybody leaving here. And what you ain't going to be looking at is what was on your plate. That man said, I searched the reins in the heart to give every man according to his work shall be. That man searching your heart. What he going to find? He ain't searching your intestines. He ain't looking in your stomach. He ain't checking for your colon. He going to see what's in your heart. Was it circumcised? Was his word in it? Because if not, you going to hell. He ain't going to give you no extra points because you ain't eat no flesh. Just like he ain't going to give you no extra points if you ate all the flesh somebody put in front of you. Then what I be meaning, what I be telling y'all, man, you get caught up on stuff because you agree with it with confirmation bias, or you get caught up in cult of personality that you don't realize that these people are not giving you the information to save your soul. They lying to you. They lying to you. You're going to go to hell behind that because you don't have the proper information necessary to get what it is that you say you want to go. So you got to ask yourself, are you trying to save your soul, or you just trying to be a part of something? You know what I'm saying? Because you can go be part of the Boy Scouts. You want to be a part of something. You know what I'm saying? You can join a fraternal organization. You want to be a part of something. But if you want to save your soul, it take a little bit more than that, my G. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not for none of the rallies. You know what I'm talking about? Amen. That's all that matters, which is what we get into in that Psalm 51. Because you want this second child to stand in his stead. See, sometimes I think we be forgetting what such of a deleterious state that we presently in. We read it in Ecclesiastes. There's no discharge in that battle. He say the dead don't know nothing, but the living know they gonna die and don't know when it's gonna happen. You don't know when, you don't know where, and you don't know how. You know what I'm talking about? And the stuff that we be going back and forth about, well, you think you're going to stand before God with that in peace? Well, you crazy, man. Well, that's not the move, my G. Verse 8, man. For bodily exercise profited little, but godliness is profitable unto all things, having the promise of life that now is and that which is to come. Do you understand when you have the promise of life, that's dealing with the promise of everlasting life through the resurrection of Yahushua HaMashiach, and then you know which is to come? You see how that take us back that he that is and was and is to come. You see how that tie in? Go right back to what's in Revelation, which let us know that he was in the beginning, he manifested in the flesh, and he's soon to return, because great is the mystery of godliness, because Elohim was manifested in the flesh, preached unto the world, seen him Elohim, received back in the Shamahim. Let you who would be esteemed. Matter of fact, I'm looking right at the verse. There it is. I'll just read it to you. I'll pick it up right here, verse 14, man. 1 Timothy chapter 3. And these things write unto you, hoping to come unto you shortly, but if I tarry long, amen. Absolutely. Unspeakable joy. Amen. Absolutely. That you may know how you ought to behave yourself in the house of Elohim, which is the house of the living Elohim, the pillar and ground of the truth, and without controversy. Great is the mystery of godliness. Elohim was manifest in the flesh, justified in the Ruach, seen in Elohim, preached unto the Gentile, believed on in the world, received up into esteem. You know what I'm talking about? While we around here playing games, man, we missing out on what it's supposed to be. Let me tell you something, man. And y'all know this here too, man. Let me just keep this a bean with you, right? Because a lot of brews like to say this all the time. You know, everybody ain't got the Ruach HaKodesh, man. Just somebody say the Spirit lead me, the Spirit guide me. You know, a lot of these niggas lying, right? I'm talking about telling bold-faced lies. Because that man say, he that believe on me, as the scripture has said, out of his belly shall flow rivers of living water. His dudes don't even believe on this man, as the scripture has said. How you got the Spirit? You got individuals who talking about they still sinning. How you got it? How you got it? Because you're not exercising godliness at that point, because you haven't made yourself Kadash. Because he say he is Kadash, therefore you be Kadash. So how in the world you got it and you ain't set apart? If you ain't set yourself apart from sin, how in the world this man dwelling in you? You lying on that man. Matter of fact, you ain't even lying on that man. You just lying. You know what I'm talking about? And the sad part is that a nigga tell you can't identify who got the Spirit. Book don't say that. People tell you don't know who chosen. That's a lie. The book tell you can tell who chosen. What is you talking about? See, this is why I be on y'all, but you need to make sure that you know what's in this book, because people tell you anything. I just was telling this earlier, right? And I'm going to see who remember. If you was on there and you heard it, I don't want you to answer this question. Because a lot of brews, you know what I'm saying, say this here. We done went over this a few times over the years. You understand? You had dudes tell you tithe was never money. But who can tell me in your law where you can see plain as day that tithes was money? I want to see who remember. That wasn't a part of the conversation earlier. I won't go into detail with that. I'll have to catch y'all on another time with that. I don't care to discuss that at this time. You know what I'm saying? But I'm asking you this question because it is a common misconception. It is a common overlooking of the law. and people opening their mouth and don't know what they're talking about. But who can tell me where it's at? Because it's there. I'll take this one minute detour, and I'm doing it just for the simple fact of, like I tell you, right? People say things that the book don't say this or the book say that, and the book don't be saying what they say it say, or it say something that they say it don't say, and it's right there. That's the point of me mentioning that. That a lot of people don't know what they talking about. A lot of people don't know what they talking about. But they got the spirit though. But God sent them though. How you woefully in that in your job if he sent you? Because that means you saying he a bad teacher. He a bad trainer of employees. That means you sent yourself, man. And as I always say when I mention it, man, you know what I'm saying? Y'all have mercy on my brother Goldie Soul, man. Man, that man ain't hire you, bro. You can't go to McDonald's and start dropping fries and expect a paycheck. No, any of y'all know y'all cannot walk on somebody's job and start working and the people gonna start paying you. You're not on their payroll. See, the word is the only occupation where people can just get up and go to doing it and think they're gonna be paid. No, that's a little different, Mother Sharona. Mother Sharona missing with Abraham, peace, Eve, man, paid tithes of Melchizedek, and gift referring to the first fruits of the increase. That's a little different. Let me show you, because we you know it's Wednesday. I can't eat up all your time. You know what I'm talking about? Well, indeed, Brother Langford, many are called and few are chosen. I didn't want you to come over here to Leviticus 27, and I just want y'all to see something. Now, I always want y'all to remember, you only tithe 3 times a year. You know what I'm talking about? That's it. That is it. The 3 feast days where your attendance is mandatory. If anybody tell you different, they telling you a lie. Go search the law. Look it up for yourself. It's only 3 times a year. Stop letting these people lie to you and tell you got to do that every week. They lying to you. I don't care if they're Hebrew or they're in the Christian church. They lying to you. That's not what your law say. That man say 3 times a year you do that. And that's it. And all men supposed to do it. The only way a woman's going to do it is if she ain't got no husband or she don't stay in her daddy's house. Because if she got a husband, she ain't required to do that. The husband doing it for the whole household. But see, they won't tell you that because they jackasses and they idiots. You know what I'm talking about? But come over here, man, Leviticus 27. And if you was offended, I meant to offend you with every ounce of my soul. 27, where we want to start it at, man? Because we don't need to read too much. 27 and 30. Amen, Jay. You ain't lied. 27 and 30. That's right, Gip. 27 and 30. Listen what it say. And all the tithe of the land, of the seed of the land, of the fruit of the tree, Yahuwah's. It is Kadash unto Yahuwah. And if a man will at all redeem of his tithes, he shall add thereto a fifth thereof, concerning the tithe of the herd or of the flock or whatsoever pass under the rod. The 10th shall be Kadash unto Yahuwah. He shall not search whether it be good or bad, neither shall he change it. And if he change it at all, then both it and the change thereof shall be Kadash. It shall not be redeemed. What does this redemption mean? Well, see, if you had a tithe, you know what I'm talking about, and you wanted to keep your said tithe, then you would bring it to the priest and he would estimate a value of it, and then he would get the money and you would keep what you would bring. You understand? Let me show you. Let me back you up a little bit. You know what I'm talking about? Come over here right about verse 12. I make verse 11. He say, if any unclean beast of which you do not offer a sacrifice unto Yahuwah, he shall present the beast before the priest. The priest shall value it, whether it be good or bad, as you value it. The priest, so shall it be. But if he will at all redeem it, then he shall add a fifth thereof unto your estimation. And when a man shall sanctify his house Kadash unto Yahuwah, then the priest shall estimate it, whether it be good or bad. As the priest shall estimate it, so shall it stay. Now I want you to back up to verse 1 so you can see the numbers on the estimation. Who spake unto Moses, saying, speak unto the sons of Yasharal, and say unto them, when a man shall make a singular vow, the person for Yahuwah by estimation, and your estimation shall be of the male 20 years old, even unto 60 years old, even your estimation shall be 50 shekels of silver after the shekel of the sanctuary. And if a female, then the estimation shall be 30 shekels. And if from 5 years old under 20 years old, then your estimation shall be a male 20 shekels and the female 10 shekels. And if from a month old, even under 5 years old, then your estimation shall be of the male 5 shekels of silver, and the estimation shall be 3 shekels of silver. So I just want you to understand when you see this estimation, what it's referring to. And you can go back and look at this and run this stuff down on your own. It goes to talking about if you want to sanctify part of your field, part of your seed, part of during Jubilee, the firstling of your beasts, and your tithes, and it would be turned into money. Priests would keep the money. You know what I'm talking about? And you would keep the crop or the beast. But see, they're not going to tell you that because them niggas don't know that. And you know why they don't know it? Because they weren't studying the law to know the law so they could properly teach what it is that they profess, that they say that they know. They just taught about tithes because they just wanted to be able to talk bad about the Christian church. That's all. That's all it was. And that's right, E say, man, you definitely can look right past stuff if you're not careful. Indeed, you can definitely look at it in that fashion. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm saying, dear? You're just talking about the 30 shekels, on the female side of him being valued at that particular point. But I just mentioned that not because I care about tithes, but because how many of you knew this was even there? Now, anybody who's been around here for 5+ years, they knew it was there. Now, whether they remembered it or not is a different conversation. You know what I'm talking about? But we done went over it before. We went over that when you did why you baptize your kids. Because it's an estimation in the value. See, man, it's a lot of people. And I'm just mentioning that because you can read in the New Testament where children are baptized. And I done told y'all this before. You ain't got to baptize your kids if you don't want to. That's between you and the Lord. You know what I'm saying? I'm just going to show you what it is. You know what I'm saying? You can do what you want. But you'll be amazed at the things that brothers don't know that's in the text, and then they say, and you speaking wrong. Because we can't say the tithe was never money when you could redeem your tithe and pay money instead of giving the tithe up. But guess what you were still going to do? You were still going to come off something. You were still going to come off something. Come on back to Psalm 51. Shoot, that man told you could take what you was going to tithe and turn it into money so you could have you a good time. Like, it's a lot of stuff people just be saying, man. That's why you got to make sure. And also, let me add this here, too, before I go back to Psalm 51:1. Stop reading the book like you at the Audubon, like you at the Daytona Motor Speedway, like you at the Indianapolis 500. Now, by Yahuwah's mercy, we don't know how long we got on this earth, but you don't need to be rushing and speeding through the word, man. Take your time. It's a plethora of information in the text. Secondly, stop studying to just know. Stop studying to converse. Study so you can actually know your maker, what he stands for, how he operates, proper function, all of these things. You know what I'm saying? What is his order? What is his structure? What is his discipline? What does he stand for? What is he against? What is his character? Who is he as an individual? Study the word the same way you studied your husband or studied your old lady. Why you take so much time to want to learn somebody in the flesh and not know the father of all ruachs is beyond me. You know all these damn TV shows don't know your God. You know every damn song that come through your play with word for word. You don't know your God. How that makes sense? We'll sit around as a people and talk about total strangers as if you know these people complete character. You know what I'm talking about? But you don't know the character of the man whom you say life emanate from. Make that make sense. You know what I'm saying? That's why we miss so much information. Then when somebody come point it out, you want to call them names of this, that, there, and the third. Because you were studying wrong. You know, take that and do what you want to with it. Don't make me no never mind. But I know this here, man. If you want to save your soul, slow your behind down, man. The book tell you the race ain't given to the swift. Let me read it to you. 1 Corinthians 9 on general principle. That would be our problem. You in a hurry to go nowhere. You like a nigga on a treadmill. You running fast, ain't going nowhere. Oh, I don't think it's supposed to. Hey, fat baby. Wait, so I think I told y'all wrong. I did. Oh, that's right. I said it wrong. That's what the problem was. 1 Corinthians 9. I was right. I just said it wrong. 1 Corinthians 9 and 24. Say, know you that which run in a race run all, but one received the prize. So run that you may obtain. Every man that strive for the mastery is in self-control in all things. Now they do to obtain a corruptible crown, but we are incorruptible. I therefore so run, not as uncertainly, so fight I, not as one that beat the air, but I keep under my body and bring it into subjection, lest by any means, when I have preached to others, I myself should be a castaway. So he let it be known, I keep myself disciplined. You understand? But if you're going to run the race, you got to run it, man, and you got to not uncertain. Man, we do this stuff, we ain't even certain of what we doing. That's why we always say, oh, Hamashiach can straighten it out when he get back. That means we ain't even certain about what we doing. How you doing something you don't know what you doing? And then you telling other people about what you uncertain of. And the only thing you certain of is we Israelites. Come on, man. The only thing you certain of is, oh, we got to keep the law. Boy, it's more to it than that, my G. It's more to it than that, man. You got to put more together. You got more pieces of puzzle put together than that, man. If you like understanding, boy, you worthy of death. That don't seem to bother us, man. Man, if you ain't got no understanding, boy, you going to hell. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. So if you know that you're not seeking an understanding or you don't have an understanding, that should trouble you. But see, we're not even troubled because we're confident that walking in ignorance and stupidity, that he's going to look past it. And he's not. And I'm saying all this because when the time comes for you to die the death of the righteous, you're not going to do it. Because you ain't certain on what you're doing, so you're going to fall. Because you're going to be like, oh, hell no, I'm not doing that. I'm not dying for him. I'm not going through that. Come on back to Psalm 51:1, man. Have mercy upon me, O Elohim, according to your loving kindness, according to the multitude of your tender mercies, blot out my transgressions. Wash me thoroughly from my iniquity and cleanse me from my sin, for I acknowledge my transgressions, my sin ever before me. Against you only have I sinned and done evil in your sight, that you might be justified when you speak and be clear when you judge. See, this is the part that we don't understand, that we don't take into account, that we don't actually sit back and resonate in our mind. Boy, this man going to be justified when he speak on judgment day against you, boy, because you out of pocket. He going to be justified because you wrong. He ain't wrong. Yahuwah judgment is just. Yahuwah ain't did nothing wrong. We the ones out of pocket. We the ones out of pocket. And we didn't walk around here like that junk ain't no big deal. You know, you can do what you want, man, but it's just serious, man. Listen to what he say, man. Behold, I was shapen in iniquity, and in sin did my mother conceive me. Now, of course, you know, we talked about this verse before because, you know, the Catholic Church take it and misuse it to be talking about original sin. This is not what that means. So when he says that I was shapen, that word is cool. That is to be writhed, to be feared, to be trembling, to be in anguish, also to wait anxiously, to be distressed. So he let you know that he was shapen in distress. Amen, Gil. Hey, you right, Brother Langford. You would think people would take it more seriously, but they don't. So he's in distress because of iniquity, which is avon, because that is the consequence or the punishment of iniquity. So this is why he has anguish or trouble, which goes back to a man born of a woman is full of trouble. You're full of trepidation and anguish because you know a punishment is waiting for you. So you need that second child to come in the first child's steed. Now, see, the first Adam died for his wife, so the second Adam died for his wife. But you don't need to follow the death of the first Adam because he died according to the law. You want to follow the death of the second Adam who died according to faith so that you could be able for your end to be like his. See, at the first Adam don't got the same end as the second. Amen, Brother Langford. So then look at when he say, and then in sin did my mother conceive me. So what is sin? Of course, here that's caught. That's guilt for sin or the punishment of sin. So when you are conceived in your mother's womb, which is your calm, which is to be conceived, you are already conceived in the punishment because in Adam, we all die. Very simple. Very simple. That's all that verse means. You are waiting anxiously for the punishment of iniquity, which is death. And your mother conceived you into the punishment of sin, which is death, because everybody dies. That's it. It's really that simple. So when you come back to Job 14 and you see Job stating that, hey, man, a man born of a woman, a few days, he's full of trouble because he's full of anguish and turmoil because everybody dies. But let's come back over here. Let's come over here to Luke 12 because I called for it and I ain't got around there yet. So I can knock that out of the box, Rick. Amen. We need a redeemer. Which is really going back to the part with the estimation and the redemption for the tithe. But see, they don't even want to talk about that, man. You know what I'm talking about? Matter of fact, I work this in with that tithe that we talking about with the very same thing. Pray be to Yahuwah. That's going to line up with what we talking about because Yahuwah just that nice with it. You understand? So let's read this doggone Luke chapter 12. I pick it up at verse 1 on general principle. From Luke 12, we're going to go to Isaiah chapter 6. From Isaiah chapter 6 to back to Leviticus 27 and link that right back into Job 14 and y'all willing, we get to Psalms 37 and we'll see how she ain't breaks on it or she let them just Cheerios. Cheerios. Come on, y'all. Luke 12 and 1. Let's get it. So in the meantime, when there was an innumerable multitude of people, insomuch that they walked upon one another, he began to say unto his disciples, first of all, beware you of the leaven of the Pharisees, which is hypocrisy. Now remember, in hypocrisy, in Hebrew, it means to be unfaithful. So because we know hypocrisy to be a liar, I guess to be unfaithful, you'd be a liar too. But necessarily, you don't have to be a liar and be unfaithful to Yahuwah, unless you said you were going to be faithful and then you weren't. You know what I'm saying? So he told you to watch out for the teachings of the Pharisees because they're going to teach you how to not be faithful to God. Which is all what Amunah, Amath, and Aman is about, is being faithful, is being steadfast. That's what the love and kindness means. That's what the chesed means. It's goodness or faithfulness. That's why he told you he would draw you with love and kindness in Jeremiah. That's why he said that Elohim so loved the world, he gave his only begotten son. See, that's the aspect of letting me die the death of the righteous, because the righteous are willing to die according to the faithfulness of Abba and Shamahim. You understand? That's why he say Elohim is love, and all those who begot him love, and those who do that are the children of Elohim. But see, everybody don't have that type of love in them. That's why he told you perfect love casts out fear, because fear have torment. And he who fear is not made perfect in love. Because if you fear, that means you don't trust Abba and Shamahim. You understand? Abba and Shamahim, he ain't got no fear because he ain't got no reason to doubt. That's why the son of Elohim ain't had no reason to doubt. He didn't doubt a single solitary time. He just didn't want to suffer the pain because that was just the flesh. I don't want to die. It wasn't no doubt. Because if it was doubt, he wouldn't have went and prayed. If it was doubt, he wouldn't have asked Abba, let this cup pass, but nevertheless, not my will be done, but your will be done. He wouldn't have done that. If there was doubt, he wouldn't have told Peter, man, put up your sword, man. He that killed with the sword going to be killed with the sword. You don't think I can ask my father for 12 legions of Malachim right now? How else going to be the scripture going to be fulfilled? See, that's the stuff you got to pay attention to with the nuance, man. That man talking like this here, man. Man, ain't no doubt, ain't no fear over here, boy. Ain't no fear over here. I'm not scared of these people. That's why he could look Pilate in the face and say, man, you wouldn't have no power against me at all, except they were given to you from Shamahim. But he that brought you to me, he got the worst sin. Man, what you talking about? Got power to let me go, goofy? Get out my face. You ain't got no power over me. Boy, I don't care nothing about you and what you talking about. He say, for this end was I born, and for this cause I came into the world. And everyone that's of the truth, they going to hear my voice. That's not fear, and that's not doubt. See, individuals say all type of stuff, man. We don't pay. See, you read the stuff, but you're not paying attention to the character of the man and what type of time he was on. That man was locked in on that word, man. He stayed faithful unto death. Can we do the same is the question. That's not a question you need to answer out loud. That's a question you need to answer when you commune with yourself on your own bed. You know what I'm talking about? You that faithful to this man under death? You trust that man word like that under death? Because we full of trouble, man. We all hitting that grave, yo. You know what I'm saying? The girl who braided my hair, of course, I've known her since she was 17 years old. She done told me, man, my uncle died. You know what I'm saying? And this uncle's son is the one who pretty much kept her oldest son, man. You know, he ain't taking it too good. You know what I'm saying? But you check up out of here. You know, people had the nerve to put in obituaries or posts. They died suddenly. Well, everybody died suddenly for the most part. The vast majority of people who died today did not step out their house today and say, boy, I'm sure looking forward to dying today. There's only a handful of people knew they were checking out of here today. That's mainly people in hospice, in the hospital with some type of critical injury, a critical illness already. But the majority of people who died today, they ain't have it in their mind that they were going to leave here. They didn't think the day was the day. Don't you know every day we wake up, man, the day could be that day? And that you don't realize all the events leading up to get you to that point for your doggone time card to get punched. When it's time to go, it's time to go. Because you were born for that purpose. Because you were conceived in sin. You were conceived in that punishment because in Adam all died. But in the Mashiach all are made alive. So if you take hold of his death, which is a twofold thing, because we could die the death of the righteous by being baptized unto his death, and we can die the death of the righteous by being willing to suffer for his name's sake. See, you can still die the death of the righteous and not actually die, because all you have to do is be made in the likeness of his death, but raised in the likeness of his resurrection, and therefore no longer let sin reign in your mortal body. See, the thing with a lot of brews out here, man, see, they don't want to talk to you about not sinning and all this other type of stuff, because, see, they want to try to be cool with you. They still want you to be down with it, you know what I'm saying, or whatever it is, game that they running, you dig? I don't give a damn if you like me, shoot. I don't know half you niggas anyway. Tell them about the care. And I ain't saying that to be facetious, you know what I'm saying? Because I got love for everybody who I actually have had the opportunity to interact with. But boy, I don't give a damn if a nigga like me. All I need is you who to like me. I don't need man to. Man's like the love ain't gonna get me where I want to be. You know what I'm talking about? And I want to be with him. I say that because I'm telling you. I keep telling y'all this because y'all willing. That time coming for some of you. Man, I can't have you out here preaching, man, and you worrying about what other people talking about and what other people thinking, what they got to say about you. That's not going to fly around here, man. That's not going to fly around here, man. You're going to have to stand on the word and let the chips fall where they fall. Whoever offended, let them be offended. Whoever don't like it, let them slide. You know how many goofy niggas done slid from around here because I wasn't going for that doggone bold wrinkle time they was on? Because I wasn't finna pat him on the head and rub him on the butt? Because I wasn't finna go for that old doggone sucker simp goofy junk they was on, man. There was some dudes on some real retarded stuff around here, man. And they upset because I ain't stamping it. Whole nigga I ain't supposed to. I pray be to you, man. I ain't supposed to. You think I'm gonna compromise what you who are on to appease you? You crazy as all I do. That's what a lot of dudes think. We all brothers. We supposed to come on with all that, man. Ain't nobody with that, man. Put it back. Come on, man. Verse 2, man. Luke 12:2. For there's nothing covered that shall not be revealed, neither hid that shall not be known. Therefore, whatsoever you have spoken in darkness shall be heard in the light, and that which you have spoken in the ear in the closet shall be proclaimed upon the housetops. And I say unto you, my friends, be not afraid of them that kill the body, and after that no more that they can do. But I will forewarn you whom you shall fear. Fear him which after he has cast into hell. Yea, I say unto you, fear him. Are not 5 sparrows sold for 2 farthings, and not one of them is forgotten before Elohim? But even the very hairs of your head are numbered. Fear not, therefore, you are of more value than many sparrows. And I say unto you that whosoever shall confess me before men, him shall the son of Elohim confess before the Malachim of Elohim. But he that deny me before men shall be denied before the Malachim of Elohim. Whosoever shall speak a word against the son of Adam, it shall be forgiven him. But unto him that blaspheme against the Ruach HaKodesh, it shall not be forgiven him. And when they bring you into the synagogues and magistrates and powers, take you no thought of how or what thing you shall answer or what you shall say. For the Ruach HaKodesh shall teach you in the same hour what you ought to say. Don't worry about these people, man. Just stand on the word and be willing to go. Now, I mentioned Isaiah chapter 6. Let's go on and get it. I told you I was going to do it, and do it I shall. Since we went to Leviticus 27, just I want to show you something. If we're going to look at it, then we just going to go ahead and tie it in to make it proper. Praise be to Yahuwah. If that's what we're going to do, that's how we're going to do it. If you're going to do it, you got to do it right. That's what the Lord say. Let's come over here, man. Let's pick this up at 6 and 7. Isaiah 6 and 7. And laid upon my mouth and said, lo, this touched your lips. This have touched your lips, and your iniquity is taken away. Your sin is purged. So if the punishment has been taken away and it's been purged, that's what we're looking for. You understand? Listen to him. And I heard the voice of the Lord saying, whom shall I send? Who will go for us? Then said I, here, I, send me. And he said, go tell this people, hear you indeed, but understand not. See you indeed, but perceive not. Make the heart of this people fat and make their ears heavy and shut their eyes, lest they see with their eyes and hear with their ears and understand with their heart and convert and be healed. Oh, see, y'all thought that was just for Isaiah time. And I guess you thought when the Lord said it, it was just for their time. Well, it's still going on now. Well, this people's heart is waxed. It's fat. They can't hear. They can't see. They can't understand. That's why they ain't changing. Listen to what he said. Then said I, Lord, how long? And he answered, until the cities be wasted without inhabitant, and the houses without man, and the land utterly desolate. And you who have removed men far away, and a great forsaken in the midst of the land. Listen to what he say. But yet in it a tenth, and shall return, and shall be eaten, as a teal tree, and as an oak, whose substance in them, when they cast the Kadash seed, the substance thereof. Now, that's been a long time since we talked about this here, this 10th. Some of y'all who've been, see, but praise be to Yahuwah, right? And I'll say this here because I done told y'all this before. And it's just because it's fresh on my brain. Because the individual said it. I ain't gonna tell you no lie, right? You ain't putting in, if you say you a preacher, right? If you say you a teacher of the word, boy, if you only preaching one time a week, boy, you ain't even got a full-time job. You ain't got a part-time job, boy, you seasonal help. You understand me? You seasonal help. Because you only come around during this. You got dudes who say they teach the word, don't even teach on feast days, bro. And I ain't talking about no internet stuff. See, we on YouTube right now, you dig, because we don't all gather up on Wednesday nights. You who are willing, that may change very soon. You know what I'm saying? Now people come to the house on Friday. I mean, anybody can come to the house on Friday. Those who choose to come, they come. And that's probably because, you know, it might be late and everybody don't stay close to each other. You know what I'm talking about? But Saturday, everybody together. Now, y'all willing, in a particular location, see, I'm going to expect attendance. Now, I'm not going to expect 100% attendance every Wednesday, but I definitely would expect 60+% attendance every Wednesday. You know what I'm talking about? I would expect that. I ain't expecting you, oh, we got it, and it's only 2-3 people sitting in there. I'm not expecting that. That's just not going to fly. That's just not going to fly. There's no excuse. You know what I'm talking about? It's no excuse. And the Friday and Saturday, I expect 100% participation. You know what I'm saying? Unless, you know, there's continuing. You know what I'm saying? Amen. He say most of these blues are script bullies. They don't search the text to be set free. So, I'm saying it because I told y'all this before. If you only preach the word one time a week, you seasonal help. Because when you look in the text, the men who labored in the word, well, they preach more than on the Sabbath, man. They did that more than on the Sabbath, man. They preach more than on the Sabbath, man. You got to put in some work, man. There's a lot of dudes, man, they ain't working hard enough. You know what I'm saying? You ain't dedicated to your craft. Need to tighten up. Now, when you look at 10th in this particular instance, of course, this is a 10th. This is Asari. Not the same words you're going to see for tenth, for tithe. You understand? Now, he said they'll be eaten as a teal tree, as an oak, but I want you to look at whose substance is in them. What is the substance? The substance here is Matzabeth. It's a pillar, a stump, a monument with a personal memorial. Remember what he told you? Come over here to Revelation chapter. Come over here to Revelation 3 and 12. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, the people are going to be saved from the preaching of the gospel. They're not going to be saved from anything else. Not your music, not your social initiatives, not your community initiatives, not them knowing who they is by nationality. They're only going to be saved by the gospel. That's the only thing that's going to save them. See, we don't believe that. Revelation 3 and 12. You can make it 3 and 10. Because you have kept the word of my patience, I will also keep you from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world, and to try them that dwell upon the earth. Behold, I come quickly. And hold that fast which you have, that no man take your crown. Him that overcome will I make a pillar in the temple of my Elohim. He shall go no more out. And I will write upon him the name of my Elohim, and the name of the city of my Elohim, New Jerusalem, which come down out of Shamahim from my Elohim, and my new name. He that have an ear, let him hear what the Ruach saith unto the synagogue. So again, that substance, it literally translates to pillar. Literally, a pillar. But more so, a personal memorial. What is that personal memorial? Because if his name is written in your, it's a personal memorial for you. Let's continue. Then he say when they're cast their leaves. Now see, leaves ain't there. So when you look at when they cast, what you have here is shakalef, and that is the felling of a tree or the cutting down of a tree. The kadash seed is the substance. Of course, you know kadash seed is kadash zerah, and then of course the substance that of that kadash seed is that pillar or that personal memorial, which takes us right back to Isaiah 59. This is the tenth that's coming back. You understand? He said a tenth, because see, the verse before that, it talked about a forsaking. See, you got a great forsaking. That's why you see the great falling away. Shalom, Sister Ro. That's where you see the great falling away at. Let me read that verse to you one more time in case you didn't catch that. In Isaiah 6. Right here in verse 12. Yahuwah have removed men far away, and a great forsaking in the midst of the land. See, we don't pay attention to the fact that where you think Paul get that from, that there's a great falling away, but a tenth gonna come back, or a remnant. See, this is what a lot of brews don't want to accept. But most of y'all already know this because we know what's in Daniel chapter 11. Well, a lot of brews gonna reject Yahuwah. When that pressure get hot and it get tight out here on these streets, man, a lot of people who you were shaloming with, shaloming with, a Cody with, Art with, them people gonna turn on you, man. They're gonna deny your God, they're gonna forsake his covenant, and they're gonna turn you in. You know what I'm talking about? All of them who was like, Happy New Year, Happy Feast Day, niggas gonna switch out on you, man. When he talking about falling away, boy, who you think they falling to? If they fall away from you, who you think they falling into? They falling into the hands of the adversary. And the just are an abomination to the unjust, and is enmity between the woman's seed and the serpent seed. What you think going down? She didn't put something on mine. But we don't be wanting to hear that. Nah, man, that's my art, man. They'll never do that. The nation's gonna get us. Boy, them niggas gonna get you killed, boy. Didn't this man already tell you, man, these people gonna they gonna kill you, and they think they gonna do Elohim service when they do it? But we don't believe that because we don't believe the word. We just think we just gonna be this big old happy family and ain't gonna be no tribulation or no turmoil. Man, let me tell you something real, man. Man, when the rubber hit the road, man, and people gotta lose their life and stand for the word, well, you're gonna see a lot of these people do not love, trust, nor believe, nor have any type of hope in Yahuwah's word. I hate to be the one to tell it to you, but you ain't gonna be able to say ain't nobody told you though. I tell you that. So it's doo-doo stank. Come on back over here to Leviticus 27. I don't want you to get caught out here looking crazy and then you wondering what's happening. I want you to look at verse 2, right? Well, we already read it. I want you to look at it as it pertains to estimation. What does that mean? When you look at estimation, of course, this is a rec, and this is order, things that are set in order, estimate or to value. Now, you know that his saints are of great value in his eyesight. Now, I want you to come over here and we're going to look at redeem. Let me find one of the passages in here where you got redeemed. Let's look at verse 28. Because you got certain things that it talks about. Now, a devoted thing, the Hebrew word is kairen. This is a thing that is dedicated to Yahuwah. Leviticus 27:28. Notwithstanding, no devoted thing that a man shall devote unto Yahuwah of all that he have, of man and beast and of the field of his possession shall be sold or redeemed. Every devoted thing, most kadash unto Yahuwah. None devoted, which shall be devoted of men, shall be redeemed, surely be put to death. So just understand that. If there's something that you devote, you don't get to be able to estimate that. That's going to Yahuwah. Now, see, you got certain men. See, that's a whole. Let me stop, because we're going to get way somewhere else. Matter of fact, let's just go ahead and deal with it. It says none that's devoted, right? So again, Karim, a thing devoted, thing dedicated, a devotion, a net thing, or something that is to be utterly destroyed or appointed unto destruction. These are things that should be utterly destroyed. He said the devoted thing can't be sold or redeemed. Let's look at redeemed in this particular passage. Of course, you know this is Gaal. This is an act as a kinsman redeemer, to be the act of a kinsman, to redeem oneself, to be redeemed. Now, when you use this verse, let me pull it up on. Turn to the page and get off the app. When you come out here, right, I want you to think about this here, right? We're in verse 28 of Leviticus 27. I want you to think. Notwithstanding, no devoted thing that a man shall devote unto Yahuwah of all that have, man and beast, and of the field of his possession shall be sold or redeemed. Every devoted thing, most kadash unto Yahuwah. None devoted, which shall be devoted of men, shall be redeemed, surely be put to death. What does come to your mind when you hear 28, 29? 28 and 29. Well, if you don't have an answer, let me share this with you. Of course, you know Yahusha is devoted, and he was utterly appointed for destruction. He was a thing that belonged unto Yahuwah, and though they sold it, because remember, he said, no man to lay my life down, I lay it down of myself, and I pick it up again. This instruction I received of my Abba. See, they tried to sell him. See, that go back into them 30 shekels we just read about when they estimated his value would be in 30 shekels. But this was a devoted thing. They ain't had no business doing that. See, your forefathers broke the law so often in areas that you don't even know that they broke it, because they weren't never keeping it. But let's continue looking at the tithe, verse 30. And the tithe of the land, of the seed of the land, the fruit of the tree, is Yahuwah's. It is kadash unto Yahuwah. Now, you see this here, the seed of the land, or the fruit of the tree. He said, if a man will redeem at all of his tithes, he shall add a fifth thereof. And concerning the tithe of the herd, the flock, or whatsoever pass under the rod, the tenth shall be kadash unto Yahuwah. Now, see, this is why it's important about the tenth or the tithe of the fruit of the tree. Because you know what it takes us back to? Come on back to Genesis chapter 1, verse 11. Because remember what you read in Isaiah 6, it said the kadash seed, that was his substance. See, you got another place in Psalms where it talk about, man, all this stuff tied together with the same word, pointing you to the same concept, which is you're going to have to be born of the word. You're going to have to be born of incorruptible seed and not corruptible seed if you want to die the death of the righteous. But don't nobody want to talk about that. Listen to him. Elohim said, let the earth bring forth grass, the herb yielding seed, the fruit tree yielding fruit after his kind, whose seed in itself upon the earth, and it was so. And the earth brought forth grass, herb yielding seed after his kind, and the tree yielding fruit, whose seed in itself after his kind. Elohim saw that good. So when you turn around and you bring in this tithe, because remember it said a tenth will come back. Let me read it to you again. Isaiah chapter 6, verse 13. But yet in it a tenth, and it shall return and shall be eaten. Because remember, he say, bring the tithes into the storehouse, that there might be meat in my house, as a teal tree, as an oak, whose substance in them when they cast the Kadash seed, the substance thereof. So you got a personal memorial because that seed is in you. Because remember, he told you this is the covenant that I will make with them. The words that are in your mouth and the ruach that's upon you will not depart out of the mouth of your seed, nor out of the mouth of your seed, from henceforth and forever. And it's not seeds of many, but seeds of one. That seed being the Maya, in the seed of the word of Elohim. And you got to be born to said seed, or you a bastard baby. You a bastard baby. You ain't got no daddy. You know what I'm talking about? Matter of fact, let me not even say you ain't got no daddy. You mixed seed, because that's what you is. You's a mamzer. You a mixed baby. But see, this the problem. Well, how you a mixed baby? Because you mixed with dust and ashes and not ruach. You got a problem. You know what I'm talking about? You got a problem. But see, oh boy, that's tough now. Let's get to Job 14, because we started it. I got to get it on out of here. Let Yahuwah be esteemed, man. All we just got to do is weigh and consider. That's it. You got to sit down sometime, man, as a man, and you got to look yourself in the mirror and say, how important is your soul salvation to you? Not your children's salvation, not your wife's salvation, because you can't save them. Now, of course, you can walk in a particular type of way to be an example for them, but you can't save them because they got to save themselves. I don't care how much you love Yahuwah. That ain't got nothing to do with your wife or your kids. They their own person. And I'm just telling you that because you need to get that through your mind. You need to get that in your mind. You need to get it in there good. You can't do nothing for nobody else. You can't make somebody want what they don't want. You can't make somebody desire what they don't desire. You can't make somebody do what they don't want to do. If they don't want to serve God, they're not going to do it. And that ain't got nothing to do with you. That all got to do with them. I guarantee you, I bet you Samuel wasn't walking around here looking stupid because his sons was going after filthy lucre. That ain't got nothing to do with me. They got to answer to him. What you don't want to be like Eli, and you know your kids out of pocket and you turning your head. You ain't restraining them, knowing them boys around there knocking chicks down at the tabernacle door. That's why I be going off. About certain stuff. Because dudes act like Christians been doing this stuff. Boy, your forefathers been doing that, man. Your forefathers been. Now, come on, man. This man had to tell you, don't bring no price or no whore in my house. You don't understand they were tricking with female temple prostitutes in the house of Yahuwah. That's what your forefathers were doing. That's what your forefathers were doing. You ain't never seen the house of Yahuwah. They seen it and had the unmitigated gall to bring idolatrous whores in there and trick with them. And not only women, but boys. They were hitting boy booty in there. But you want to say you learned that from the white man. You ain't learned that from no white man. You learned that from your own lust. See, it's easier to blame another nationality for your own lust. The people ain't had nothing to do for the desires of your heart. Stop putting that on them and take responsibility for your own self. See, Bruce don't like to do that in 2023. Ever since I've been in his word. Everything we do, it's always the nations. The nations. The nations ain't got you doing nothing. You doing that because that's what you wanted to do. You need to stop doing that. And as grown men, you need to stop teaching people that. Do you understand how faulty of an instruction that is to teach a young man that the stuff that he lusting after is because other nations do it? No, you seen them over there doing it. You had that desire, and you want to look at them, and that make you feel better about you going to do it too. Because now you want to hit your line. Who sing that song that everybody be saying that line from? Who sings that song? it's a problem when I do it. Whatever case maybe, you know what I'm talking about? Who sings that song? I hear niggas always say it's cool when they do it, but it's a problem when I do it. Who the hell raps this record? Because I do not know. I do not follow these niggas. You know what I'm saying? But either way it goes, that's a cop-out. Oh, it's a problem when they do it. It's cool when they do it, but it's a problem when I do it. It's a problem both times. Okay, yeah. I'm not familiar with any of them that nigga music other than that nigga seem like that he's special. I know who the dude is. I don't know his music. He said finesse 2 times. I'm not taking no lessons from a nigga whose name is Finesse. Man, I remember I was locked up with a dude, man. That nigga say his nickname was Slime Ball. And I said, niggas hang with you? Because I'm not hanging with nobody and his nickname is Slime Ball. That's funny. But you got to understand something, right? If you did something that was wrong and it was cool when they did it, that means everybody around them co-signed they folly. But if it's a problem when you do it, that means somebody checking you to tell you stop being a jackass. But guess what niggas running? It's a problem when I do it. It's cool when they do it. You somebody who don't want accountability and you looking for a pass because that person got a pass. Well, guess what? Indeed, I believe that wholeheartedly, Jay. You know what I'm talking about? Because your names have meaning. You know what I'm saying? And that's why you have to take into account what your name return. Your forefathers understood that because names have meaning. You know what I'm saying? A lot of you want to pick a name because it's cool. I just seen before I came on here that chick from Miami trying to rank on her. He say Jit got the yuck mouth. Hey, you know what I'm saying? But hey, man, you know, hey, it costs a lot of money to get dental work. So you know, it took Too Short and Nas a long time before they got their teeth fixed. One probably just to sit down and do it. You know what I'm saying? But full comprehensive dental work ain't cheap. Unless them boys getting veneers in their mouth, looking like they got a whole bunch of piano keys in their mouth. You know what I'm talking about? Huh? Oh, I know they ain't cheap.
You
said a salary?
I said some nigga's salary.
That's expensive stuff.
Yeah, your whole mouth was like $30K.
Woo!
I
know Cameron got some veneers in his mouth. I know they were ranking on Roman Reigns hard when he got his. Then after a while, they go to looking natural. But when they first get them, you could tell. Because it's like their mouth just big. You know what I'm saying? Look like it's a cartoon. And then all you can see is this nigga got veneers. But then after a while, they just seem to go back to normal. Job 14-1, though. I probably won't get to Psalms 37 tonight. Man born of woman a few days and full of trouble. He come forth like a flower and is cut down. He flee also as a shadow and continue not. So I just want you to understand that 10th that's coming back, they got a personal memorial and they born of the seed. And because they born of the seed, that second child going to be able to stand in that seed. And why was that able to happen? Let me read Romans 6 because I referenced it. Let me read Romans 6. This is why this 10th is able to come back. And this is why there'll be a great forsaking in the midst of the land. Romans 6-1. What shall we say then? Shall we continue in sin that mercy may abound? Elohim said no. How shall we that are dead to sin live any longer therein? Because you want to die the death of the righteous. Now Hamashiach died for sin. Therefore, sin don't live no more, which Paul is about to expound on. Because he said, this is the Lamb of Elohim, which come to take away the sins of the world. So if you want to die the death of the righteous, you got to understand that you got to die to sin. There is no way around it. He that suffered in the flesh ceased from sin. Let this mind be in you, the same mind that was in Yahushua HaMashiach, who suffered in the flesh. That man told you to take up your stake daily and follow him. That means you got to suffer in the flesh every single solitary day. That means you die to sin. These dudes not telling us that, man. That what the man taught. That's what he told the apostles to teach. That's what was taught in the Old Testament. This ain't nothing new. I heard somebody say that the other day. I don't deal with that New Testament. I only deal with the Old. That's that new stuff. That's when you just know people don't know the word. What tripped me out even more is that he just intent on calling Yahuwah Jehovah. Like, that is not that man's name. That is not that man's name. They made that up. And they'll tell you they made it up. But that's neither here nor there. You know, you let people do what you want to do. See, I won't get one. I ain't gonna mess with nobody about saying Jesus, but Jehovah is ridiculous. Like, come on, man. That's not even a transliteration or nothing. That ain't even nowhere in the ballpark. It don't even mean the same. You know what Jehovah means? The God of destruction and ruin. It don't even mean the same. Six and 3. I could believe it. I could believe it, Jay. I can believe it. Romans 6 and 3. Know you not that so many of us were immersed in the Yahushua HaMashiach, were immersed into his death? Therefore, we are buried with him by immersion into death, that like as a Mashiach was raised up from the dead by the esteem of Abba, even so we should walk in newness of life. So there's another end of dying the death of the righteous, that your end might be like his. Because you die into sin, that you may live forever like he do. Because like we read earlier, which was and which is to come. Praise God. So, for if we have been planted together in the likeness of his death, we shall also be of resurrection. Knowing this, that our old man is crucified with, that the body of sin might be destroyed, that henceforth we should not serve sin. For he that is dead is free from sin. Now, if we be dead with a Mashiach, we believe that we shall also live with him, knowing that a Mashiach, being raised from the dead, die no more, death have no dominion over him. My page was missing, so that's why that sounded like that. For in that he died unto sin once, but that he lived unto Elohim. Likewise, reckon yourselves also to be dead indeed unto sin, but alive unto Elohim through Yahushua HaMashiach our Lord. Let not sin therefore reign in your mortal body, that you should obey it in the lust thereof. Neither yield your members as instruments of unrighteousness unto sin, but yield yourselves unto Elohim as those that are made alive from the dead, and your members are instruments of righteousness unto Elohim. For sin shall not have dominion over you. You are not under the law, but under grace. What did that mean? Because a man born of a woman. Remember what we read in Psalms 51. I was shapen in iniquity. I was conceived in sin. You were conceived with the punishment of death on your head. That is under the law. You were shapen, or you have the trepidation of the punishment of iniquity. That is under the law. A man's days are few and full of trouble, full of anguish, because you have no chance to win in the discharge in that day. That's under the law. What is under the law? If you eat of this tree, then you shall die. Have you eaten from the tree that I told you not to eat from? Dust you came from, dust you shall return. But now you are no longer under that law. You under the mercy of Elohim. If you die the death of the righteous, so your end can be like his. Just that simple. You got dudes talking about not under the law is the sacrificial law. Get the biggest family Bible you can find. The next time you hear somebody say that, and slap that nigga dead in his mouth. Because he don't know what he's talking about. This man is not sent by Yahuwah. If you hear any dude talking about any of this stuff, talking about under the law, talking about sacrificial law, walk away. That man is unskilled in the word of righteousness. That man is a babe. Because he ain't talking about why would he be talking about a sacrificial law? And this man told you in Jeremiah, I didn't tell your forefathers when I brought them out of the land of Egypt about no burnt offerings and sacrifices. That man say, put your flesh to your mouth and eat it. I told him to obey my voice. This man don't give a damn about no bulls and goats, boy. What's wrong with you? But you know what's wrong with you? Because you hated the Christian church so bad that you listened to a Hebrew oofy goofy and he gave you bad information and you repeat it. And you repeating it. And that man say you're not under the law, you're not under the penalty of death, man. Because where the ruach of a Mashiach is, there is life. The words that I speak unto you, they are ruach and they are life. How you dead with the word of God in you? In the book say the word of Yahuwah is forever. You ain't dead. So therefore you're not under that punishment. You in the mercy. Don't stray from the mercy. You see how that take you back to the city of refuge? Because you slayed a man, because you were committing sin, but therefore because you didn't know you slayed a man, you fled into the city of refuge and you stayed there. Because you say, because you're not under the law, you under mercy. You see how that worked with the city of refuge? Because the law says if you kill a man, you're supposed to die, yes or no? But in the city of refuge, you're not under the law, you under grace. Do you see how that's right there in our law? We overlook it every day. It's right there. It's literally right there. But see, we can't see that because you're trying to prove the Christian church wrong so bad. Stop proving these people church wrong and prove you who are right. Show forth that this man speak truth. Stop trying to prove these people wrong, man. Let that junk go. And if you're dealing with dudes who telling you it's your duty to prove the Christian church wrong, walk away. This man's an idiot. A lot of these dudes are idiots. They're giving you the wrong spirit and the wrong mind. It's not going to get you where you need to be. It's just not. It's not. And it is what it is. Man, let me read verse 15, man. I'm almost out of time. What then shall we sin because we are not under the law, but under grace? Elohim forbid. Know you not that to whom you yield your servants to obey, his servants you are to whom you obey, whether of sin unto death or obedience unto righteousness. But Elohim be thanked that you were the servants of sin, but you have obeyed from the heart that form of doctrine which was delivered you. Being then made free from sin, you became the servants of righteousness. You understand? That's why you want your end to be like his, because you could be set free, because it wasn't possible for death to hold on him, so they had to let him go. He went down as a prisoner in the pit, just like Joseph did, but they had to let him go. Wasn't possible for him to stay down there. You ain't got to stay in sin, man. You ain't got to stay mired in that state. You know what I'm saying? Brother I know on the book, man, he was talking about, trying to get his people free. She got jammed up on a case, man, which if the facts of what they stated is the case, it's extremely unfortunate that she had to be incarcerated for that. But he was asking the question, man, you ever been to jail? You know how that feel? Man, there's a lot of niggas ain't never been in prison every day of their life. They've been in the prison of their mind, they've been in the prison of their lust, and they've been in the prison of their flesh, and they're a prisoner of the world, and they're a prisoner of sin. And all you got to do is take hold of the Son and be free. But you don't want to do that. Because you know why? Sin feels so good. That's how people feel. It's crazy that which destroys us is that what you want to hold on to the most. Job chapter 14, man. Some of this stuff I'm going to have to reiterate because I'm 6 minutes. Well, I got 8 minutes technically. You could to get old, but I ain't finna go that long like I did the last couple weeks. So look here, right? Verse 2, Job 14. He come forth like a flower and is cut down. He flee also as a shadow and continue not. And do you open your eyes upon such a one and bring me into judgment with you? Who can bring a clean out of an unclean? Not one. But see, Yahusha did it. Because you was unclean. He said that in Ezekiel. I seen you in your blood, and I washed you and said, live. And I entered into a covenant with you, and you became mine. Seeing his days determine the number of months with you, you have appointed his bounds that he cannot pass. You know what that's telling you? From the foundation of the world, however long you're supposed to be on the earth, that's how long you're going to be here, and you ain't going past it. And you're not going past it. Let me read it to you again. Seeing his days determine the number of his months with you. So how many months you got on this earth, that's with Yahuwah. You have appointed his bounds that he cannot pass. If that man say 80 years, you ain't living 80 years in one day. You living 80 years and you're out of here. If that man say 20 years, boy, you're gone. I know some people say, well, what about people who get murdered? If Yahuwah didn't want you to die, you wouldn't even be put in a position to be murdered. Because no man can do anything to you unless Yahuwah let him. Don't y'all realize that some of y'all done probably been in a situation where you could have lost your life and you still here because he didn't want you to die. Y'all have mercy on this soul. I'll mention it again. Our dearly beloved brother Goldie, man. Goldie told me straight up and down that he had been diagnosed with terminal cancer and let them white folk tell him he supposed to been gone. Now, I've known Goldie since about 2011, 2012, probably about 2012, 2013. Been friend with him, you understand? That man say, boy, I was finna reject the Mashiach, man. Then I started rocking with you. And this man was listening to the gospel of Yahusha on his deathbed. You understand me? And when I say on his deathbed, I mean literally. I mean literally during Memorial blowing the trumpets, 2015, that man was in his hospital bed, not knowing this man was going to be dead by the morning. You understand me? And he was there. And he was there all the way live with it, man. All the way live with it, man. Straight up and down. This is no exaggeration. Those who remember we was on that conference call, we was snoring. He was snoring. We doing our regular cracking joke. We not knowing this was going to be the last time we was ever going to hear this man's voice. Because he died in the morning or that night. You understand me? And straight up and down. You know what I'm talking about? And he told me, he said, well, I believe the Lord kept me alive for me to receive the gospel so my soul could be sealed. This is what this man told me, man, probably about a month or so before he passed. So when this man wants you to be here, man, he gonna have you be here, man, so you can get what it is that you need to get. Because he don't want you here, but you're gone. You understand me? There's a lot of people who left here that Yahuwah didn't want them. I don't care how much you love them. You know what I'm saying? I don't care how much you thought about him. He let him leave here for a reason. Them reasons known to him. I ain't got nothing to do with that. I ain't got nothing to do with that. And I ain't finna say, well, that person was this or that person was that. I'm not into all that. That's up to Yahuwah. Yahuwah know why he did that. Oh, amen. I'm just telling you. Man, I ain't gonna tell you no lie. You go back on the channel, the Trumpets 15, and you'll see it. It's on there. You know what I'm talking about? It's on there. That video is on this channel. Not making it up. He definitely was on there. That man was fighting straight up and down terminal cancer for years. I knew this man for years, ain't know he had it. You understand me? And that man was listening to this man's word on his deathbed every day. Every time we were live, man, because we were going live 3 times a week then, just like we do now. And that man was there, man, to his last breath. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if he was conscious to hear anything after that, but I know this here. He heard the word of Yahuwah. That was in his heart before he left here. And that's what he desired to do. And I say that to say this here. If a man could be on a bed knowing that he about to leave this earth, and the number one priority in his mind is I must have the word of Yahuwah, what that tell us we need to be doing? Because that man was on his deathbed. And he wasn't thinking about, oh, woe is me. That man telling me I'm in the hospital. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be online when you go live. I'm there. And he wore it faithfully. Didn't fold. Didn't fold. You know what I'm talking about? See, that praise be to Yahuwah. You understand me? That's a reflection of the heart that he had, that how much he desired Yahuwah, that not even death would make him separate him from it. Boy, I got to get to him. You understand me? That's why I'm telling you that. I'm not making this up. Those who was here in 2015, they know exactly what I'm talking about. And there's several of them who was there and heard him snoring on that man, because we love that man, man. And that man rode out to his breath, to his last breath. That's the mind we all got to have, man. If death ain't got him thinking about himself and seeking Yahuwah, you ain't got no reason not to be seeking Yahuwah with nothing you got going on. 14:6, Job. Turn from him that he may rest till he shall accomplish as a hireling his day. For there is hope of a tree if it be cut down. See, we'll take that back to the book of Daniel, y'all willing, on Wednesday, Daniel chapter 4. If you didn't know, check it out for yourself. Drew say he remembers, so you're right. And the stock thereof die in the ground. Through the sin of water it will bud and bring forth boughs like a plant. Oh, we got a lot of stuff to deal with this here, man. You know what I'm saying? That's why praise you. That's probably why Job 14 came to mind. But we even get to Psalm 37. It's a lot of splicing and dicing. We ain't talked about Job 14 in a while. I'm going to read some of the passages, and then y'all willing Shabbat, we swing right back to it before we get on out of here. He said, but a man die and waste away. Yea, a man give up the ghost where he. The waters fail from the sea, and the flood decay and dry up. So man lay down and rise not till Shamahim no more. They shall not awake nor be raised out of their sleep. Oh, that you would hide me in the grave, that you would keep me secret until your wrath be past, that you will appoint me a set time and remember me. If a man die, shall he live? All the days of my appointed time will I wait till my change come. You shall call and I will answer you. Amen, Jay. They say it's a blessing not to leave too fast. You can prepare. You will have a desire to the work of your hands. For now you number my steps. Do you watch over my sin? Do you not watch over my sin? My transgression sealed in a bag. You sow up my iniquity. Surely the mountain fell and come to nothing, and the rock removed out of its place. The waters were the stones. You wash away the things which grow out of the dust of the earth, and you destroy the hope of man. You prevail forever against him and pass. You change his countenance and send him away. His sons come to honor, and he know not. And they are brought low, but he perceive not them. But his flesh upon him shall have pain, and the soul within him shall mourn. So, y'all willing, I just wanted to conclude that there, but y'all willing, we're going to come back and we're going to splice and dice several verses out of that. But hallelujah for Yahushua the word. Appreciate y'all this evening. Bless y'all the house of Elohim in the name of Yahushua. Y'all know Tuesday we'll be on at 7:30 for second Passover. So if you see a notification talking about it's live, if you forgot, that's why. So yeah, man, you know, if we're going to die the death of the righteous for our end to be like his, we definitely got to be willing to die to sin in order to receive the reward that he received. Also understanding that there'll be a tenth that come forth, and that tenth has been estimated and valued. You've been set in order. And because you've been set in order, you can be redeemed. And because you can be redeemed, you can be given unto Yahuwah. You know what I'm talking about? And it's going to be a great forsaking in the midst of the land. And we could come back to that if the Lord allow for us to go back to talking about the mystery of iniquity again. Shoot. Much love, my praise Yahuwah indeed. You know what I'm saying? So, you got to think about that, And then, a lot of these boys don't stand for the word too, man. But what I said earlier, man, I meant that because I talked to some of our people earlier today about something that I had meant to tell you about that book. I had talked to them about what we heard Saturday afternoon. It was atrocious. And I'm dead serious. That junk hit my mind this afternoon. That junk pissed me off all over again. But that junk was bad. Like I said, I'll catch y'all in person and talk to you about it because I don't want nobody to think that he that important that we clowning him on the internet. But I did say some things in the comments to the individual, but I couldn't stay on there long enough to actually converse because that junk pissed me off. But I'm gonna tell you, and I've been told y'all this before, man. Man, you can't be preaching the word one time a week and think that's enough for the people, man. I'm be honest with you. If you can feel comfortable preaching one time a week, man, you ain't watching over no souls. You know what I'm saying? You ain't watching over no souls. It's no way in the world. I think the thing that pissed me off the most was there's a lot of brothers that feel like they should be compensated for preaching the word and they not even over a body of believers. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a structure and order to all these things. You know what I'm saying? It's a structure and order to the whole play. Because like I said, fundamentally, the gentleman was correct. And the only reason why I meant it, because remember, we just talked about this probably a couple of weeks ago when we were reading that to you. Because I had to be telling you there's no solicitation. You know what I'm saying? But boy, yeah, man, preacher's supposed to get paid. You know what I'm talking about? That's just how that go. He's supposed to get paid because he's performing a service. But everybody feel like just because somebody open a Bible up don't mean that they own Yahuwah. See, when I say he's supposed to get paid, it's because he's on Yahuwah's payroll. So regardless if you pay him or not, the Lord gonna pay him. And matter of fact, the Lord is gonna make sure the people who he around that they gonna make sure he's straight. So he ain't got to walk around and be like, pay me. He ain't got to do that. He ain't got to say nothing. Because the Lord gonna make sure that the man's straight. You know what I'm saying? Now, he wasn't selling out. He was actually teaching something. And the principle of what he was teaching on, man, was fundamentally correct. The execution was atrocious. You know what I'm saying? The execution was atrocious. I'm talking about it was atrocious. And when I say atrocious, I mean it was pretty bad. You know what I'm saying? Well, there was opportunities where, you know what I'm saying, niggas could have got dirty. You know what I'm talking about? When I say dirty, meaning you could have spiced that up, put a lot of information in there to where a comprehensive understanding was given. Outside of just preachers supposed to be paid. You know what I'm saying? Because y'all know every time we done looked at that, I'm going to tell y'all this here, right? The first time an individual asked me about tithing, I'm like, bro, I'll go over it because you asked. But nigga, I don't care about that. You know what I'm saying? That's like When I say that, meaning that's a anecdote in the totality of a conversation we're gonna have. It wouldn't be the singular focus. And it has to be a comprehensive understanding of a specific salvational related topic to discuss it. Because nigga, who thinking about some money, man? Like, how you get finished preaching and the first thing on your mind is, if y'all felt like y'all benefited from what y'all learned today, send me a little donation. How that even come across your mind? I've been doing this for 10 and a half years. That ain't never ran across my mind now time. And I'm not knocking nobody who do that. I'm just saying that just don't come to my mind. You know what I'm saying? It just don't come to, but it's a lot of things that don't come to my mind. I know it's brothers who like to market that they got service and where they got service at and make flyers and digital flyers and posts. That stuff don't run across my mind. If one of y'all did it, I ain't gonna be like, why you made that flyer? Why you asked for a donation? I'm not gonna rebuke you for it, but it just don't come across my mind. I ain't thinking about it. You know what I'm saying? Now, I mentioned to them earlier, it is important that you do know that yes, that is in the word. There's multiple examples of it, but you're supposed to know what situations and circumstances as a preacher to know when to take and when not to take. But see, one of the verses that we had looked at, man, and I really want y'all to understand this and know this before we slide out of here. And I want y'all on this screen to hear this, because they heard it earlier. I ain't gonna go into great detail on everything, but I do want you to hear this here. This is 1 Timothy 5:17. It said, "Let elders that rule be counted worthy of double honor, especially those who labor in the word and doctrine. But the scripture say, you shall not muzzle the ox that tread out the corn, and the labor is worthy of his reward." Now, see, this is one of the verses that he used, right? Now, I'm gonna give y'all some free game, because like I told you, for some of these men, they time come where they're gonna have to be able to do this for themselves. So I just want to show you how unskilled individuals can be. So when you hear elder, and most people in this Greek word for elder here is presbyteros. It's elder of age, advanced in life, a forefather. But see, this is something that we always overlook with Brews, because they see elder in the Old Testament, and you just want to make it be like somebody who's old. But it's somebody who is of rank or office. More specifically, an individual who is over an assembly. It's a bishop, a pastor, a shepherd, an overseer. They're all the same job title. Now, see, y'all getting some bonus coverage. So I'm going to give you this bonus coverage. This ain't got nothing to do with what we talking about, other than what we were talking about in Leviticus 27. I just want you to see how men read stuff, overlook it, because they don't really know what they're talking about. So I want you to come over here to 1 Peter chapter 5 real quick, right? I want you to walk with me and listen, right? Look at verse 1. It say, "The elders which are among you, I exhort, who also am an elder, and a witness of the sufferings of the Mashiach, and a partaker of the esteem that shall be revealed. Feed the flock of Elohim, which is among you. Take the oversight, not by constraint, but willingly, not for filthy lucre, but of a ready mind, neither as being lords over heritage, but in samples to the flock. And when the chief shepherd shall appear, you shall receive a crown of esteem that fade not away. Likewise, you younger, submit yourselves unto the elder. Yea, all be subject one to another. Be clothed with humility, for Elohim resist the proud and give mercy to the humble." Why is this important with the elder? Because Peter was a pastor. How do we know Peter was a pastor? Because Yahushua came through for his mother-in-law. Peter had a wife. So this is what I'm trying to get to this particular ease. Now I want you to come over here to Acts chapter 20. You say men can't even preach if they don't even have a concordance. Yeah, that's tough. That's real tough. See, Will can tell you what people thought. I knew all type of language, and I ain't looked at nothing. That's something we had been doing. We ain't been doing that for probably about 4 or 5 years. You know what I'm saying? I've been like this. People like, boy, you know Hebrew? I'm like, nah. Oh, I know you lying. What a lot of you folks. That ain't even nothing to lie about. Now I want you to come over here to Acts chapter 20. And about verse 27. He say, "For I have not shunned to declare unto you all the counsel of Elohim. Take heed therefore unto yourselves and to all the flock, over which the Ruach HaKodesh have made you overseers, to feed the house of Elohim, which he have purchased with his own blood." Understand something again. Elder, bishop, shepherd, pastor, same job. So you're not an elder because you're old, because see, it's qualifications for being a bishop, pastor, elder. Which if a dude say he an elder, you would have to ask him this question. Are you an elder because you old, or because you an elder because you a pastor? Because if you an elder because you a pastor, then you're going to have to fit these qualifications. And see, if you an elder because you a pastor, then guess what? That means you would be worthy of double honor. You understand? See, this is what you have to know. Just because somebody teach the word don't mean they qualify for the job. Which means if they're not qualified for the job, Yahuwah didn't hire them. Now, you just read elder, you just read overseer, and two different things. Now, when we get to Timothy, you're going to see bishop. You just seen that he called Yahushua the chief shepherd. So you see that this is all the same job title. He said they got oversight over the house. Now, I want you to come to 2 Kings chapter 12. And then what I meant with, they could have got dirty with it. You could have gave some understanding. And it didn't happen, and it was unfortunate. And this is stuff that y'all done already learned, to be told. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about those who've been here, not new people. I know that's why I'm taking the time to just go ahead and share it with you now. At least this piece of it, not everything that we talk about. It's not like we talk about a whole lot. 2 Kings chapter 12, verse 8. And the priest consented to receive no money of the people, neither to repair the breaches of the house. But Jehoiada the priest took a chest and bore a hole in the lid of it, set it beside the altar on the right side as one coming to the house of Yahuwah. And the priest that kept the door put therein all the money brought into the house of Yahuwah. And it was when they saw that much money in the chest that the king's scribe and the high priest came up, and they put up bags and told the money that was found in the house of Yahuwah. And they gave the money being told in the hands of them that did the work and that had the oversight of the house of Yahuwah. And they laid it out to the carpenters and builders that worked upon the house of Yahuwah. See, I went there for oversight. Let me share with you the Hebrew word for oversight. And I'm going to answer you in 1 second, Nisha. Just 1 second. 2 Kings chapter 12. And that was verse 11. Let's look at oversight. What is oversight in this passage? I just want you to know what it means in Hebrew, which is pakad. And that means to appoint, to watch over, to appoint as an overseer, to make an overseer. So they're overseer of the house. We know that the people are the house. So I just want you to see that as all these things line up. Now let's come back to 1 Timothy 5 and 17. He said, let the elders that rule well. So now when you get to rule well, guess what rule is going to tell you? The word is pro-is-te-me. It means to superintend, to preside over, to be a protector, to be a guardian, to be over or to rule or overseer. So he say, let every pastor that oversees a congregation, he say, let them be counted worthy of double honor. What is to be counted worthy? That is axio, that is judge worthy, to deem deserving. What is double honor? Double is obviously twofold, a double, twofold more, diplusi. And honor in this instance is the Greek word time, valuing by which the price is fixed, the price of itself, the price paid or received for a person or thing bought or sold, honor which belongs or is shown to one, honor which one has by reason of rank, state of office, which he holds, respect, money paid, valuables, things of this sort. So this is what the individual used when discussing this. And I'm like, well, nigga, is you even an elder? Now, Nisha just asked that. Would you be considered an elder? I could be considered that now because I am married. You know what I'm saying? When I wasn't married, absolutely not. Now I want you to look at what causes one to qualify for this job. Come over here to 1 Timothy chapter 3, verse 1, and you will see what qualifies an individual for this job. This, a true saying, if a man desire the office of a bishop, he desire a good work. Now, there's nothing wrong with desiring a good work, brothers. You know what I'm saying? Nothing wrong with it at all. You know what I'm saying? It's just waiting patiently until you, as Paul say, if you want to serve, wait on your service. It's just to make sure that you prepare for the service. Ain't nothing wrong with desiring it. And don't let nobody tell you no different. Unless your intentions for desiring the work are wrong. That's where you had a problem. Now, office of a bishop, what is that? It's copay. That is the overseership, the charge, the office of an elder. That is what an office of a bishop is. An overseer, as we already done discussed. What is this good work that you desire? Of course, desire here, to have a desire for, to long for, and it could also mean bad things. But I've also told you, in Hebrew, you have good desire and you got bad desire. Desire in and of itself is not evil, depending on what the desire is. The word work is organ, that's business or employment, an act or a deed. Now, he said a bishop must be blameless. What does this mean? First qualification, he cannot be reprehended, not open to censure, irreproachable, unrebukable, blameless, not arrested. So he can't be no sinner. So if the man say he is a sinner, he's automatically disqualified. He's not an elder. Can't be. He don't fit the job qualification. The husband of one wife. Now, he has to be vigilant, which is self-control. He has to be sober, which is self-control. Good behavior, given to hospitality, apt to teach, which means he's got to be skilled in the word. He can't be given to wine, which means he can't be a drunkard. He can't be a striker, which means he can't be contentious. You can't be greedy for filthy lucre. You have to be patient. You can't be a brawler, and you can't be covetous. Then you got to rule your own house well, having your children in subjection with all gravity. That means your kids got to respect you. If your kids don't respect your rule, if your kids don't respect your authority, if your kids don't respect your word, you cannot operate in that fashion. That's why I be on y'all about making sure y'all children are in check. Because if your children do not respect what you say, wherever you say it, wherever you act, I can't give you the job. You can't get the job. Now, I meant to read Acts 14 also. Hold on, let me do that. Because this is what the apostles were doing. Right over here in Acts 14. Where is that? I feel like I'm overlooking. There it is, verse 23. And when they had ordained them elders in every synagogue and had prayed with fasting, they commended them to the Lord on whom they believed. Because see, that's what apostles usually went around. Usually that's what they went around and did. They appointed pastors over congregations. It's just Peter happened to be one over a congregation. But that's what they did. They set up congregations for the most part. Listen to the next thing he say. For this is verse 5. I read 1 Timothy 3 and 4 one more time. One that rule well his own house. What is rule well? And again, that is to be a guardian, to preside over. Having his children in subjection with all gravity. What is subjection? That is the level of obedience, subordination, subjection. Tage. What is gravity? That is respect. That Greek word is simonotes. That is reverence or respect or honor. He said, for if a man know not how to rule his own house, how shall he take care of the house of Elohim? Not a novice, lest being lifted up in pride, he fall into the condemnation of the devil. Meaning, if you're new to the word, you can't be a pastor. If you just converted, if you just came in the word, you can't be a pastor. That's how that works. Likewise, ministers, grave. What is that? So, because it say deacon, deacon ain't there. There's no such word. It's diakomomos. It's one that executes the commands of another, a master, a servant, an attendant, or a minister. So to put that in line with the law for you to understand it, the pastor would be operating in the fashion as the high priesthood of Aaron, and the deacon or the minister would be operating in the aspect of the Levites, and it was their job to assist the pastor. That's how that works. As forth as you see in the framework of that in the law. So again, that definition of deacon, dikionos, that's one who executes the commands of another. An office assigned to him, cares for the poor, has charge and distributes money collected for their use, or a waiter. But mainly a servant, a minister. He must be grave. So if you were going to be a deacon, if you would, you must be venerated for your character. You must be an honorable man. Can't be double-tongued. Can't be around here doubling speech, saying one thing with another person and then with another, or to be deceitful, if you would. Can't be a drunkard, not giving to much wine, and can't be greedy of filthy lucre. That is self-explanatory. And holding the mystery of faith and pure conscience. That means you got the testimony. See, both of them got the testimony. Pure conscience, of course, is in your brain. You're able to determine that which is good and bad because of reason of use, because you are of full age. And he said, also first be proved. So what does that mean? If you're going to be proved for the job, you must be tested, examined, and proved and scrutinized to see if you are worthy of said vocation. And then after you have been proved, being found blameless. So once you've been that means you cannot be called into account, unreprovable, unaccused, blameless, irreproachable. Even so, wives grave, not slanderers, sober, and faithful in all things. So the wife of a deacon, if you would, she must be honorable. Now it didn't enumerate for a pastor, but it's the same. She can't be a slanderer, which is prone to slander, accusing falsely. She cannot be falsely accusing people of things, and she does not have the proper information, because you know your laws say that you should not be swift to run after a false report. She must be sober, which means that she has self-control. She is sober, she is temperate, she abstains from wine either entirely or uses it in a moderate, and she is circumspect. And she must be faithful in all things. Faithful here is pisto. She must be trusty. She must be faithful. Faithful in business, faithful in commands, faithful in duties. One that can be relied on. And one who trusts in Elohim's promises. Let the deacons be the husband of one wife, ruling their children and their own house as well. What is ruling in this particular instance? Again, it is to preside over. For if they have used the office of a deacon well, purchased themselves a good degree and great boldness in the faith, which is in Yahushua HaMashiach. What is that? And henceforth is a good degree. Degree in this instance is dignity or influence in the synagogue. So when you come back and you look at that, did y'all hear all the things that an individual got to be talking about you worthy of double honor? You actually have to qualify for the job. Just because somebody preached the word don't mean that they qualify for the job. But how many brews, or Christians for that matter, know that there's qualifications for the job? And just because somebody's opening up a Bible and preaching on the corner, or preaching in the building, or preaching on YouTube, or preaching on Clubhouse, or wherever preachers may preach, does not mean that they actually are supposed to be compensated, because they may not work for this man. You know what I'm saying? Indeed, he may not work for this. And of course, this is something that we done went over in the years past. Yahusha lined up with every one of those things that are listed. He was blameless. What sin has he committed? He was given the hospitality. He said, I can't send these people away. They ain't ate. He didn't fight. He wasn't a drunkard. He had self-control. He was skilled to teach. He was the husband of one wife. Yasharal. Line up with the whole thing. The whole thing. That's why you're following the pattern of Mashiach when he enumerates the office of a bishop, because those are the qualifications that he hit. He's laying down the job description. So a man can't say he's an elder and then you don't fit the job description. What am I paying you for? You're not an elder, you're an imposter. That's why when I always reference to y'all about, man, you can't go to McDonald's and drop the fries. That was a joke me and Goldie used to. I said it, and then Goldie just found it hilarious all the time. So, I would always mention it because I know that he enjoyed it. He would get a laugh from it. Because we was on that then. By the grace of you, we knew that then. Like, this ain't no information where you can't go back and find a video where we talking about. I ain't just come to this epiphany in 2023. We've been on this the whole time. And it's not that it makes me look good. It's the fact that why are the rest of these men don't know this, and why are we listening to them? Much less pain. Why are we listening to these people? Well, we let anybody teach, man. You don't even care if they fit the job or not. That's a Hebrew man. He supposed to teach. You got to be the dumbest nigga in captivity to be around here telling people somebody because they're a Hebrew man that they supposed to be teaching the word. You ought to slap yourself, get upside the back of your head. You got to be stupid. Man, so y'all can have that bit of piece of information, you understand? In particular, really, I only remember 2 spots, but like I said, the jungle. But that one stood out just because I know like that was supposed to be stopped, paused. Okay, let's break this down. What an elder is, who qualifies as an elder. You see how we can work that back to Mashiach, how he the chief elder. It goes into the work that he did, which the word of salvation is able to be preached. Somebody's faith is strengthened. See, it's so much to do that it go past talking about, oh, he should get double honor. That's what I meant by that. Like, it could have been dirtier than that, man. You could have got, you know what I'm saying? You just got some coke. You cut it. You didn't sit back and drop him and whip him, and they were that hard and they like this here, man, I'm gone. You know what I'm saying? It was a lot of information that was just left on the table. Was it left on the table because he didn't want to share it? Because he didn't know it? Yahuwah knows. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I could give you my opinion, but I don't know, like, specifically. It was way more that could have been said. It was a lot of edification for the benefit of the body that could have been gave past just saying preachers supposed to get paid. And it only for me, it was only ironic because we had just had that conversation. I forgot what we was looking at. You know what I'm saying? Because I just remember saying, hey, nobody's doing this to ask you for no money. You need to understand and know this. There's nothing in this text that is in there just for the sake of being in there, and it's unimportant for you to know. You still need to understand it. Because if you do it, you need to understand why you're doing it. And if you don't do it, you need to understand why you don't do it. And if there are consequences for you not doing it, just like if there are rewards for doing it. That's why you go through the information, so that you are knowledgeable and have understanding. We need to understand every line, every word in this book, not just the stuff that we deem to be important. Yeah, I don't care about that other stuff. I just want to know about this. You was a fool. But God bless y'all at the house of Elohim in the name of Yahushua, man. I love y'all. Appreciate y'all. You know what I'm saying? Prayerfully, our main thesis of that, and the second part, prayerfully, you understand what that means. Because we haven't done this in a while, and I don't plan on doing it. You know what I'm saying? In detail. But there's offices in the body. You need to know how somebody is an apostle. You need to know how somebody is a prophet. You need to understand how somebody is a pastor. You need to understand how somebody is a teacher. You need to understand that. Hold on, man, because I feel like I left one out. Because it's supposed to be 5, and I left one out. So, yeah, an evangelist. That's what it is. An evangelist. You need to know how somebody is an evangelist, a prophet, an apostle, a pastor, and a teacher. You need to, and if you don't know, then you need to let that be known that you don't know, so that at least from that I can weave it in whatever we're dealing with. Because if you don't know, how you going to be able to identify if somebody's an apostle or not? How you going to be able to identify if somebody's a pastor or not? How you going to be able to identify if somebody's an evangelist or not? Because they said they are? Because Yahuwah didn't tell you to do that. Sister Kelly put up there earlier, you're supposed to test the spirit. You're supposed to try them. Well, how are you going to be able to try something you don't even know what the spirit's supposed to have? That's why it's important. It's not to denigrate other people. It's for you to understand so you don't get caught up in no foolishness and get deceived. But yeah, man, we'll be back on the Shabbat, man. We'll make it do what it do, man. Love y'all. Appreciate y'all, man. And until then, Clubhouse, if y'all ain't got nothing for me, man.